We're back here at Boyles of Killorglin, where there is lots of ideas for bringing colour into your home. But we are more interested in bringing colour into your garden. And even at this early stage of the season, Trish has got some great suggestions on how you could bring more colour to your garden. Let's go find her. We are here in Boyles of Killorglin. We've all set up in a little corner here. I've got our gardening expert, Trish, and we have got some colour here, Trish. It's great to see.
We have indeed, Alan. As always, we have colour every time of the year.
Every time of the year. It's one thing we always do try and say. Anyway,
yes.
How are you? Are you good?
I'm great. Yeah, great.
Good stuff.
Get
good
the gardening and the fingers are still dirty from all the seeds sown. And
exactly. So we've got stuff here now, Trish, that I guess are already well formed. They're bloomed. They're in colour. What are we going to talk about
now,
this week?
see, I suppose a lot of people, they might have pots around the doorway, or they have beds that they would put the summer bedding, and it's kind of, what will we do before the summer bedding comes out in flower, which will be end of May or whatever. So what we have is winter, spring flowering plants.
Okay.
They will tolerate being outside in the open. They'll tolerate the wind, the rain, the frost or whatever. So I'm just going to go through a few of them. Now, I suppose one of the most popular ones this time of the year would be the primroses. They're quite pretty. Primroses come every year as well, so even though when they're finished flowering, don't throw them away, just lift them and put them into another part of the garden and you can bring them back again.
Okay.
I suppose with anything this time of the year flower wise, you want a well drained area. So say if your soil is a little bit heavy, probably be no harm to put in a bit of sand or a bit of grit so that actually it'll loosen up the area for you as well. And plant them a little bit higher up rather than very deep into the soil, because if you plant that very deep into the soil, what will happen, even you'll see it here now with one of the leaves, you just get
yellow
and all that. Now if you have anything like that, just to pluck it out, and that'll stop it from spreading. Again, why is that doing that? Because the leaves are actually sitting on the soil, so they've nothing else to do but to rot, really. So it won't do any harm just to take them off, and the new green growth is all around it. So when you're planting them, you can plant them directly into the ground, or you can make up nice little pots or window boxes. And you could have that. Now, say if you were doing a nice big pot, you want something as a big plant in the middle of it. A centrepiece of the world.
Centerpieces,
so you have a lovely one there now in front of you. I know we had that before Christmas as well. It's called a Skimmia japonica.
The Skimmia, yes. I do remember our lovely Skimmia.
They were great around the Christmas because they had the real red buds on them, but they're just starting to break now, and they'll open up into a white flower, and there's a fabulous scent off them. Absolutely beautiful.
Okay, so
if you had that,
and there's lots on them. Like there's loads. These are all going to burst into small little white flowers.
Beautiful. And very, very fragrant. So if you had that pot outside your front door, you'd have a waft of fragrance just as you're going in or going out. So that'd be nice as your centerpiece. And you could put a few primroses. So what I would do with that, if you had a round pot, that's your centerpiece, I'd put 3 of these. So 1, 2 and 3. And then in between that, you'd put some pansies. Now the pansies are beautiful. They come in all different colours, between blues, yellows, whites,
purples,
and they have a lovely blotch in the middle of it, like a black blotch in the middle of it.
It's like an ink blot in the middle of it.
And that's lovely then as well.
And I always say it all the time. They just look so delicate, but yet they're so hardy, and they, as you said, they're there all year round. And even at this stage of the season, they will be there and add a beautiful little bit of
they
colour.
will, and as I say, as you said yourself, like they'll tolerate the cold and everything like that, so they're very, very hardy.
You can tell with the primrose because that the leaves look very hardy.
They do.
You know, they do look very, very hardy. So it's good.
Now, I suppose another thing then as well, a lot of people will have forgotten to plant bulbs of your daffodils,
that
and you
might be me.
and you see them everywhere at the moment. We sell pots of bulbs, and they're actually in flower at the moment. So again, now there's 3 little plants in that. You might be able to see it. And what I would do with that is that you take it out of the pot, and I'd actually divide them, separate them. So you have your centerpiece, your 3 primulas, you have your 3 pansies, and then put them in between it then as well.
Beautiful.
So they'd be lovely. And again, like all daffodils, they'll die away down in the pot, and you can plant them outside then afterwards, and they'll be fine.
Because that's it, because I remember when we had the big bag of daffodils that we were there in the autumn, there's like you were saying to just plant them in blocks.
Exactly,
and
just throw them out around the place and let them come up naturally.
This is allowing you to be a little bit more specific, and as you said, create a beautiful display with some of these flowers in a nice little
containers. But even as well, if you had beds and it's lacking in colour, just plant the whole pot of it in. You know, and sometimes as well, people go, I don't really want the daffodils there because I want to plant a bedding plant or a perennial plant. I'd actually put pot and all into the ground.
Oh, the pot and all?
Pot and all into the ground.
Would you actually make holes in the pot?
No, there's holes in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't leave it there long term then. Once it's finished flowering, you lift your pot.
And then you could put something else?
You can put something else in that hole. And you can put this pot at the back of the garage or somewhere and leave it out. And it'll grow again next year.
Okay.
And that'll be fine like that.
Wow, that's because I would never have thought of actually just putting the whole pot in them.
You can, but only temporary. If you're leaving it there the whole time, make sure to take the pot.
Don't forget. That'd be just my thing.
Now, another lovely little one as well is ranunculus. I also have these in vivid oranges, reds and whites. Now they're a bulb now as well. And again, they're just little flowers to put around your centrepiece or put it into your garden or in between your shrubs or whatever over towards the front of it. They grow to about maybe 8 to 12 inches high.
Okay.
They are actually a bulb, so they will come back again next year as well.
Would they be a first cousin to the marigold? Similar leaves and things?
Yeah, I suppose, but the flower would be slightly different now. It's kind of like a rose
it's
flower,
like a rose,
really.
Yeah, it's like
a rose flower.
Yeah.
They're only starting to flower now, so there's
even
plenty
this
of
one
buds
down
on
here
it.
looks exactly like a rose.
Yes, exactly.
It really
you can see it, and you can
yeah.
see all the lovely little buds there coming on, and they'll flower for ages. And as
that
I say,
is called again?
Ranunculus.
Ranunculus.
I know it's a big word.
It is. It's one of those ones that really, really gets you. Now I've got lovely little dainty ones over here.
Oh, they're absolutely fabulous. Now
beautiful.
A Dianthus or a carnation would be another name for it as
I was looking at it going Dianthus. I was like, oh no, I thought these were carnations, and here was me going to show off. Well, I love my carnations.
No, they're beautiful. And again, Mother's Day is coming up, so. And it says on it, it's Dianthus, I love you. I mean, that's great as well, and the colours of it. And again, they can be planted outdoors, and they're very, very pretty, and there's a slight scent off them then as well.
And these are quite small.
They are.
They're very small.
They're lovely little bushy plants, and they grow to about 7-8 inches high and about 5-6 inches wide.
Beautiful.
So they're actually lovely
and would that be the way with all carnations? They wouldn't
No,
have
you can actually get tall ones as well.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you can get ones that'll grow about 2.5 feet.
Dwarf ones or something.
Yeah, so they'd be lovely. So there is plenty of colour that you could actually be planting this time of the year. I think we all need something. I know the weather is sunny and it's windy and it's raining and there's snow on the mountains.
4 seasons in 1 week.
So we all need a little bit of lift, and I think flowers are beautiful. Again, if you don't want to plant them outside, your Dianthus, your Primroses, your Ranunculus, you could have them inside as well. But don't put them near radiators. Again, if you've any room in that windowsill, Alan.
No, I have no room. It's all packed with lettuces and marigolds.
You could put them on it. So they're a lovely addition.
Yeah. So also in the garden then as well too, we have some early flowering shrubs that would also be kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you've got a few examples here
we
for
have.
us as well.
Now, the thing I would advise is to go out and walk around your garden and say, this bed here, there's absolutely nothing in it in February, March, I need something now. And go to your garden centre and have a look and see what's in flower. So these are beautiful. They're what's called is like camellia.
Camellias.
Now again, I have a white one here with a yellow centre. It's called Brushfield Yellow. With the camellia, it's got a great glossy green leaf on it, and it's absolutely fabulous, shiny. And then you've got the white flower on top on it, and my God, it really stands out. When you're planting your camellia, if you've got a shady spot, these would actually be excellent, or a part shady area.
Great, okay,
so
because
we
that's
all
always
have these shady
everyone has
areas.
it. You're looking at the garden going, I wish I could plant something there, but then you think, oh no, it doesn't get enough sun.
And because you have the white and the flower,
it
you
will
can
light it up.
That's it,
Brilliant.
exactly.
Yeah,
now we have a new variety this year as well. It's called, let's see now, Lady Vanistart. It's hard to pronounce all these names.
Yeah,
right?
I know they're normally in Latin or something. It's quite hard.
This is a multicoloured camellia.
Multicoloured?
So you're thinking, will I buy a white one? Will I buy a red? Will I buy a pink?
Why not get a multicoloured one? I'm not going to call it by its actual name because it's a tough one. But
so with that one then, it's kind of the white flowers and it'll have stripes of either pink or red, or you might have an odd flower that will be pink or will be red in it.
Right.
So it's absolutely fantastic.
It's like a lucky dip in one
now
sense.
you can even see with the size of this plant, it's small, like it's about a foot in height and about 6-8 inches wide. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 12 buds on that alone.
Really? Wow.
So you can imagine that'll be full of flower.
Heaving with
Again, for the moment, if you didn't have a place outside, you could plant that into your pot then as well.
Okay.
And when it's finished flowering, you can plant it out into the garden.
Yeah, wow.
So they're actually quite nice, but with camellias, they need an ericaceous soil.
Now, that was the last question. When you started talking about that, I was kind of going, right, we have to mention about the soil because that's an important part as well.
So it needs a peaty soil, so no lime in the soil at all. That's the most important thing.
So like we said before, and you were saying about walking around the garden and even if it's to section part off and say, right, I'm going to put this with an ericaceous soil,
exactly,
and then have another bed over in this corner, it's going to be something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just
you can, but I suppose you have to remember what your original soil is as well.
Oh yes, of course, and the soil testing, which we spoke about in the first show,
that you could do that,
is very easy.
Now another one that's kind of, they will be flowering March, April, your camellias, so you need something then a little bit after that. So these are your azaleas.
Right.
Now the azaleas again come in oranges, whites, reds, pinks, purples. This is what you'd see out in Muckra's gardens around by the house. They're absolutely, they're fabulous because they're so vibrant, the colours in them, and they'll flower kind of end of April, May. Again, a good evergreen shrub, so it's there all year round as in leaf-wise, and it needs the same type of compost as the camellia, which is your ericaceous compost.
Right. So they would go hand in hand.
They would, and again, you have your rhododendrons as well. We've rhododendrons in stock, and they'd be lovely as well. You can get dwarf ones, or you can get tall ones. So there is a selection, and now we did already talk about the skimmia, but that can be planted into the ground then as well. So just to, as I say, it's very important to walk out into the garden, have a look and see what you need. Like we went through the bulbs there, was it last week or the week before? The dahlias and the lilies and everything like that. Make sure to be getting them ready now so that you can actually put it into the garden then later on in the season as well.
There's so much that can actually keep you occupied, really.
Oh, there is,
and it's just, again, having a plan and having a little layout of the garden and marking out where everything is planted at the start and where you're going to put everything. And the reward, though, is really, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, it really, really will be. So that's a huge, huge part.
Now, I suppose like that as well, now is a good time to get out into your garden, depending on weather and soil conditions as well. There will be weeds there. There will be plants that need mulching over or compost to give it that bit of feed.
Don't get out the lawn more quite yet, but no, what you're talking about is really just kind of giving the lawn a little bit of...
Yeah, you could give the lawn a cut as well.
Oh, you could, yeah.
At this time of the year, it's so important, the highest setting possible on your lawnmower. Don't get carried away and go the lovely fine day. But you remember the fine days this time of the year is frost.
Yeah, it's followed by other elements.
So you have to keep it at the high setting. Now, a lot of people are ringing already. There's moss everywhere on the lawn. It's a little bit early yet to actually put down the moss master.
Okay, because that needs a bit of
couple
of days, dry days.
Well, apart from the dry days, the actual temperature of the soil needs to be 7 to 8, 9, 10, even 10 degrees before that's activated.
Right.
But what you can actually put on for your moss now at this time of the year would be your sulfate of iron.
Okay.
Now, the sulfate of iron will blacken the moss and you will scarify it off afterwards. But if it's particularly bad, it's probably no harm to do it. If you got a bad dose, it's no harm to do it. And it's just, and then later on, then you could put the moss master down because that's got a feed and it'll feed the lawn.
That's the organic one that you don't have to do too much.
Exactly. And so that's it. So that would be good.
Regular listeners of ours will well know all about our moss master.
We try to make life as easy as possible.
Well, that's exactly it, and that's what you try and do. And at the end of the day, if anyone is kind of struggling or anything with their garden, of course, come in, have a chat with Trish and everything like that. Start talking about planning and everything that needs to be filled and all that sort of stuff, and you can help out whatever way you can. Here.
Oh, exactly. And also as well, if people are moving shrubs or trees or anything like that, you're at the last week really for doing that.
Right.
So if you have something to move it now, because if it starts growing, you might kill it then basically.
Okay, we might get to it. Excellent, brilliant. Well, that is great. It's lovely to see the colour. It's lovely to see what's available. Plenty to keep people occupied in regards to making some pots and some early flowering shrubs that are going to be beautiful here. As always, Trish, it's fantastic. Thanks very much for all your help. Hopefully we've given you lots of ideas, and as I said, do call in to Trish here and the Garden Centre in Boyles of Killorglin for any information you might need. That's it for another show here on the Kerry Garden Show on Radio Kerry. Do remember to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, and we will of course be back next week. So Trish, thank you very much from all of us here at Boyles of Killorglin. Happy gardening.